everyone. This is Shilpa B, Assistant Professor, Department of ISC, Kendra Engineering College. I'm going to teach you file structure concepts, and today let us go for the introduction to CD-ROM. So CD-ROM, it is nothing but compact disk read-only memory. So it can hold a lots of data, that is about 600 megabytes of data can be stored in CD-ROM, and it can be reproduced cheaply. CD-ROM, it is read only and write once, that is once it has been recorded and it cannot be changed. It is a publishing medium. It is used for distributing information. So mainly it is used for all types of softwares, codes, textual data, digitalized images, video information, digital audio, etc. Now let us go for the short history of CD-ROM. Initially it was developed in 1960s and early 1970s, and it was used for storing the movies, and later they have spent a lot of money developing other different technologies, and finally they have found a format called as LaserVision, and this trend of CD is now reduced, and now it came the format of LaserVision technology became popular, and there is two different types of this. One is constant linear velocity and constant angular velocity, that is CLV and CAV. So both these usually it was done using analog form. So LaserVision technology, it was using analog format, and finally in 1980s they have begun looking for the possibility of storing digital textual information instead of analog form in the LaserVision disk. So the famous companies like Philips and Sony, it began its work on a way to store music on optical disc, and they have found it successful, and finally digital data format of LaserVision technology is emerged, and they found a CD audio, it is broadly accepted as standard format. CD audio appeared in US in early 1984. Then the first commercially available CD-ROM drives appeared in 1985, and the different large and small firms worked out the main features of file system standards by early summer of 1986. That work has become an official international standard for organizing files on CD-ROM, and finally they have found the technology called as DVD, which is nothing but digital video disc. Now all these things are the history of CD-ROM and DVD. Now let us go for the physical organization of master disk. This is one of the important thing we have to see, how exactly the organization of master disk is there. So master disk, it is, we have already seen that we are using a digital format here. So digital data is nothing but zeros and ones, binary data, and it is formed by using digital data of 0 and 1, and it is made up of glass, and the glass has been coated. That is changed by the laser beam. Whenever a new thing has been written over to that, then that coated thing is getting changed. So there are two parts of CD-ROMs. One is PIT and one more is LAND. You can see that in your in this diagram. So PITs and LAND. So PIT is nothing but, you can see here. You can see here, this is PIT, this part is PIT, and this part is LAND. Okay, so the areas that is hit by the laser beam, that is called as PIT. When a laser beam is hit onto the LAND part, it will form a PIT. Okay, and it will scatter the light. When the light comes onto PIT again, it will scatter the light. See here, if the light comes onto PIT, it will scatter it. Then what is LAND? The smooth unchanged areas between the pits. This is called as LAND. Smooth unchanged areas between the pits we can call it as land. So when your beam comes and hits onto the land, it will form a pit, and unchanged areas in between the pits we can call it as land. So land will always reflect the light. If you see here, land is going to reflect the light. Pit is going to scatter the light. Now, how exactly the encoding scheme is there in this? How exactly encoding is done in CD-ROM? So, the alternating pattern of high and low density reflected light is the signal. Okay, we call it as signal. One is the transition from pit to land and back again. 0 is the amount of time between the transition. So I can tell you that you just look at this. So if I have pit land like this, then this part will be 1, this part will be 1, this is 1, and this is 1. Rest everything will be 0. If you see here, rest everything will be 0. So I can tell the transition from pit to land and back again is represented by 1. So transition from land to pit or pit to land. This transition is marked by 1. Okay, here also transition from land to pit or pit to land, that is marked by 1. Rest everything, the amount of time between the transition, either it might be here in the pit or it might be here in the land. Amount of time between the transition, it is represented by zeros. Okay, and what is the constraint for this encoding scheme? The limits of the resolution of the optical pickup, there must be at least 2 zeros between any pair of ones. Okay, so I cannot have like this. I cannot have it like this. There should be minimum 2 zeros in between ones. At least 2 zeros between any pair of ones. No 2 adjacent ones are allowed. I cannot have 1 1 also. It is wrong. Okay. So that is the constraint for encoding scheme. Next, let us go for CLV and CAV concept. What exactly is CLV? Constant linear velocity and constant angular velocity. In constant linear velocity, you can see here, it is a spiral structure. It starts from the origin and it will go like a spiral. It will go like a spiral structure, right? And what about the constant angular velocity structure? In CAV, you can see it is not a spiral structure. Instead, you can see lots of tracks over here and divided by different sectors. All these are sectors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the same way, all these are the different sectors. And here, if you consider constant CLV, you can see this is one sector, this is one sector, the next sector, this is one sector, like that it is divided. And what is the difference between CLV and CAV? In CAV, the innermost track will be having small sectors and the outermost track will be having bigger sectors. That means you need to anyhow amount of data written inside the sector will be same, right? So you need to write more densely. If you come inside, innermost sector will carry dense data, and outside it might not be, it is scattered data, you can see, because the sector size is big in the outermost layer, sector size is small in the innermost layer. But if you consider CLV, all the sectors are of same size. So here in this structure it is not same size, but usually in the constant linear velocity the size of sector will be same throughout the structure. Okay. So that is what here we have told. And data on CD-ROM, it is stored in a single spiral track, that is 3 miles from the center to the outer edge of the disk. If you start from here and if you go on in a spiral way, and when you reach to this part, it is 3 miles from the center to the outer edge. Okay. The sector towards the outer edge of the disk takes the same amount of space as the sector towards the center of the disk. That is what I told. This is what is the size of this sector. It is same as the size of this sector. There is no difference between any sector size. The disk has to spin more slowly when we are reading the outer edges than when we are reading towards the center. That is in the constant angular velocities. In CAV, what we have is this point is for CAV. So in CAV, what we have is we have the disk which is constant angular velocity. The sector innermost sector will be smaller than the outermost sector. So densely written inside and it is spread in the outside. That is why the disk has to spin more slowly toward when we are reading the outer edges. So instead of this, if we go for CLV, then what will happen? Throughout the rotation, disk can be rotated in a normal speed. In its own speed, it can rotate throughout. That is the benefit of CLV instead of CAV. CAV with its concentric tracks and pie-shaped sectors. So CAV usually it is having a pie-shaped sector. We know here, you can see it. It is a pie-shaped sector, right? So it writes the data less densely in the outer tracks than in the tracks towards the center. We are wasting storage capacity in the outer tracks because here it is spread. You are going to spread out the data, so obviously you are scattering the data. That is why we are wasting the storage capacity in the outer tracks, but have the advantage of being able to spin the disk at the same speed for all the position of the read head. Okay, so this is about the CLV and CAV. Let us meet in the next session. Thank you.